mean, it's been like a whirlwind for you basically the past couple months, correct?
Yeah, no, it's been both exciting and exhausting, right? You get the job and there's a million things to do, and you got to prioritize what comes first and what comes next and what comes after, and it doesn't really stop, right? I got the job right around the ACC tournament, and so watching them play their last game, being there with Coach Hamilton for that, and then you got to hit the ground running. You got to hire staff. You got to figure out what type of people you want to bring in, which is pretty easy for me. I had an idea of that beforehand, but then you got to make those hires. All the meantime, you got to get to know your own guys that were coming back from last year, and so yeah, the plate has been full, but it's been fun. It's been an absolute pleasure to be back in Tallahassee and be around an organization, a program that I've known so well as a player, and our family's known so well for a long time. My wife being a swimmer there, and family going to school there, my father, uncles, all that. So yeah, absolutely thrilled to be back, and haven't got much sleep.
Is it a dream, a full circle moment, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't go as far as to say a dream, although in hindsight it is. I always dreamt of being an NBA head coach, and I never really had this completely on my radar until it started opening up and those conversations started, and then that dream became a reality really quick. So it's a dream now that I'm living this, but it was never something that over the past 5 or 6 years I was thinking of until it happened, and now I'm living out that dream.
What identity do you want to set for this team?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we're going to be a competitive team. We're going to be hardworking. We're going to play the right way, and we're always going to have a chance to win games. And if you show up every day with that mentality, doesn't matter who we're playing, doesn't matter if we're playing a top 4, top 5 team in the nation or a preseason game against a Division II school, we're going to play the same way, right? And in terms of offensive philosophy, I want to be the fastest team in America. I want to shoot the most threes in America. And so I'm bringing a lot of that NBA style of basketball, pace and space, playing extremely fast, almost chaotic style that is not normal in college. And so it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a huge challenge. And I told our guys when they showed up on campus, they got to get in better shape, and they don't really know what great shape is, but we're going to help them get there. And you can't play that style without being in absolute tremendous shape. So that's some of the things we're going to focus on this summer. Obviously, we brought in a lot of those guys that fit that vision in terms of pace, in terms of style of play, in terms of shooting skill. So it's going to be fun to watch it all go together, but we have a lot of work to do this summer. And then defensively, I came up under some great defensive coaches, Mike Brown, Ron Adams, even Steve Kerr. Everyone talks about Golden State's offenses in the NBA, but their defense was always top 5 in the NBA. And again, it goes back to the way you compete. It goes back to the way you work every day. It goes back to a competitive edge when you have to get a stop. And what does that look like in a one-on-one situation? The other 4 guys behind you helping that person guarding the ball. So it's going to be a complete team effort, but I'm really excited to work out, at least in my mind, exactly how I want to play, and then getting to work this summer to build towards that before the first game.
Go ahead.
Speaking of guys being brought over, you get one in Robert McCray from JU. Talk to me about him and what you've seen out of him.
Super excited about him. I think he broke our record for vertical leap, which was then broke by one of his teammates yesterday. So we're really excited, first and foremost, about his athletic ability, and I think that's what gets him as a 6'3" guard combo. You can play the point, you can play the 2. I'm really excited about his versatility in that guard spot, but his athleticism is at an NBA level, and his skill is incredible. I'm really excited to give him the type of spacing we're going to use and the pace, because now he can apply some of that. And obviously, tremendous scorer, a really good shooter, a talented, gifted player, and we're going to do everything to use him in the best way to help him get to where he wants to go ultimately, and that's the NBA.
I know you weren't coaching him, but it seemed like his percentages went down a little bit from the year before to last year. Has he talked to you about that? Was he going through anything? Or?
Yeah, no, that was a main, and I'm brutally honest with every guy I recruit, because to me that's the only way you can coach them. That's the only way you can build authentic relationships, and that's one of the things I told him and others. If you come to play for me, you have to learn how to be more efficient. And some of that is on the coaching staff, and we'll help you. And I think the world of Jordan Mincy. He's done a great job at JU. But some of that, our style is going to help you not only create better looks for yourself, but also your teammates create looks for you. And collectively, 5 guys creating for each other, just standardly, your percentages are going to go up, because you have to work a little less hard. Your shot quality goes from an average level to a way above average level, if it's a catch and shoot situation instead of an off the dribble. Specifically to him with JU, he was asked to do so much, and we watched a ton of film when he came to campus. And that's one thing I love to watch film with our guys when I'm recruiting them, because you get a mindset and a look into what they're thinking, right? And to me, I can't score any more baskets, right? I can't make any more passes. I can't rebound the ball anymore. So I have to trust them to go do those things. And if you don't have that relationship or that mindset of, okay, what were you thinking here? What did you see here, right? And so through that, you learned really quickly that he had a large burden to go score, 20 to 25 every night for them to have a chance to win. And I'm not saying that won't be the case at Florida State, but our offense will create much more for each other than just, here's the ball, go get a bucket.
What's your philosophy when it comes to recruiting kids from high school and the transfer portal?
Yeah, I think you have to have a good mix. You can't completely avoid high school, right? But it also is a reality where, and it's an unfortunate reality. I think Rick Pitino talked about this in one of his interviews. If you're going to win ball games right away, experience matters, age matters, and some of these guys, you saw it in the Final Four with Auburn, these guys are 23, 24, 25 years old, and some of these high school kids, like Luke Loucks, who's coming back to us, was 17, 18 years old last year. And that gap in terms of your development, not only as a basketball player, but as a human, right? Your growth and your athleticism, those years are so important in your development. So there is a reality where I will continue to go, hopefully get 5 to 6 guys every year in the portal, and then hopefully retain some of these guys, right? The retention aspect, if you look at the statistics and the efficiency, the teams that did well always found a way to retain their guys, right? At least a handful, a core of them. So if you look at 5 to 6 from the portal, 5 to 6 that you retain, that's 10 to 12 guys, and then you sprinkle in a couple Europeans, a couple high school guys, hopefully, which some can contribute and not just develop, which I think we did a good job of so far and will continue to do as we build out our roster.
I know you're friends with Coach Golden. Is it a good or a bad thing that your rival wins a national title?
That's a great and tricky question. So I've known Coach Golden. He was an assistant at University of San Francisco when I was an assistant with the Golden State Warriors, and so we lived a couple miles from each other. Our wives would get together. He came over to our house for Thanksgiving one year. So we've known each other for years, for almost a decade now. And so we've simultaneously, he in college and me in the NBA, our careers have kind of mimicked each other. Obviously, he got his chance a couple years before I did, but he's done a great job. Unfortunately, it's at Florida. And I ran into him at the Dickie V event down in Sarasota, and it was, it's Calipari, Golden, Hurley, Rick Barnes was there, myself, and a couple other coaches, and his wife, Megan, and we all sat down and chit-chatted, and he asked me in front of A.J. Swinton, who was with me, he's like, were you happy I won it? And I'm like, I'm happy you won it. I'm not happy Florida won it. And I'm like, that's all I can say on that. We're moving on. So I'm happy for him. He's obviously gone through a lot, and he's built a great career for himself. And even going down into the details, similar but different. A lot of similar actions that we ran at Golden State when he was in San Francisco, he's running now at Florida. And so to me, it gives, also with Kevin Young at BYU, Arizona, Gonzaga, Mark Few, all these guys are kind of connected, even Nate Oates. These guys are sprinkling in NBA styles into college, which is giving me hope of, like, my theories will work. You know what I mean? When you watch, and obviously you've got to have the talent, and you've got to have the money to go get the talent. But just on a philosophical level, I'm excited to, basically test what I think is going to be a great style of basketball at this level.
Coach, what will Leonard Hamilton's legacy be, and what did he mean to you?
Yeah, so that's another great question. First, not only what he meant to me, what he meant to a lot of his former players. He's like a second father to us. He cared about us as much off the court as he did on the court. He really invested in his players. He cared about, raising us up almost like a parent to be good husbands, good fathers, good people in the community, giving back, spending our time to help others. And those are the things to him that mattered, right? The wins and losses obviously mattered because of his job. But he did a great job, if you look back, on all of our teams, graduating student athletes, but also we have a lot of very successful, both in coaching and front offices and just in business, a lot of successful individuals that came through his programs. Number one. Number two, his legacy should be that. I think he's a Hall of Fame level coach. Some of the boundaries he broke down, racial boundaries he broke down from where he's from, are truly incredible, and something that young coaches like myself don't have to experience. And he checked all those off with a smile on his face and a great attitude. So to me, he's a Hall of Fame level coach and a Hall of Fame level guy.
How has your familiarity with FSU, with Tallahassee, informed your approach to the job these first few months?
Yeah, it's there's obviously a lot of familiarity, but the town itself has changed so much, even in the last 10 to 15 years. And I would try to go back at least once every year, sometimes twice, both in the off seasons and all-star breaks. And anytime we get a chance, my wife and I would love to go back for a night or two and just see all our old friends and community. But the town has changed. A lot of new restaurants. College Town is new. Everywhere I turn, there's something new popping up, and then you look to the other way, and there's a new crane going up to build something else. So it's exciting. It's exciting for the town. It's exciting for the college town in that area in the university. But also, I'm now experiencing new areas of Tallahassee that I didn't even know about, right? Because as a student athlete, you stay in your little bubble around the campus. But now I'm an adult, right? And I'm going out to the suburbs and finding new restaurants. And it's been a blessing to have a lot of close relationships in the community that can help us with that.
And then you spoke about the coaching styles that you take influence from. The saying is like, good artists copy, great artists steal. Who are you like looking to steal from overall? Just any influences?
Yeah, so that's a great line. I just always say the best coaches steal from each other, and that's honest to God true. We used to do it in the NBA. We would play other teams, and the plays that were working against us, we would implement for the next game. And that's just like you as a student of the game, you should always be looking to innovate and looking to evolve and looking to find a better way to do things. Not on a baseline level. There's certain baseline things that I won't change and I won't go against. But in terms of tactics and strategy and different creative ways, there's a lot of good basketball coaches and a lot of good coaches in general. And I'm sure Mike Norvell would say the same thing. The best way to learn is to go against someone and figure out how they're trying to attack you, because number one, it shows all your weaknesses, but then number two, like some of these guys are really creative with what they do. So in terms of who I'm stealing from, it's a broad list. The main influences, obviously, the guys I've worked for: Steve Kerr, Monty Williams, Mike Brown. All of those guys I think are great coaches, and even the front offices. Because now in this role, you have to be a quasi front office on your own too, right? And until we hire a GM and build that staff out, we're doing it all, right? So I can also learn. It's crazy. Someone told me the other day, I've worked every single stop. I've worked for a NBA Coach of the Year and an NBA Executive of the Year, every single team, which I didn't even realize, but it is fascinating because I can call these guys and say, hey, James Jones, what do you think about this? Am I evaluating the right way, right? Mike Brown, what do you think about this? And to me, it's as much basketball philosophy it is just the way you operate and your systems and your structure of the way you want to build things.
Coach, real quick, the conference was down somewhat last year. What do you attribute that to? Do you see them rebounding this year?
Yeah. There's a lot of ways I could go with this. I think money is a huge factor, right? And we just came from the ACC meetings, and I don't say that lightly, but I think the SEC has done an unbelievable job as a quote unquote football conference, right? Investing financially into their basketball teams, and you saw the results of that last year, and we talked about it as coaches and with all the ADs at the ACC meetings the last 2 days. And I think you've seen it with some of the hires, both creatively going a little more youthful with NBA influence, and teams throwing money at really good coaches. Virginia, NC State, all these guys, Miami, Florida State. I think pretty highly of myself. But there is an influx of new coaches that have a lot of energy that can operate in this structure. To me, with a tremendous amount of energy and innovation. But the SEC and other conferences poured financial resources into their basketball programs, which resulted in great teams, right? And I think the ACC is now currently doing that, and that was a lot of what we talked about is how do we get not only back to that level, but back to the best conference in America, which it's been for a long time. The stats show that when ACC teams get to the NCAA tournament, they're better than any conference in America. And you can attribute it to Duke and Carolina all you want, but there's been a lot of teams that have had a lot of success in the NCAA tournament. But we got to get to the tournament. So it's a combination of financial investment, financial resources, and then strategy of how do you schedule, who do you schedule, getting your net rating up. We can't be a basketball conference and look at the end of the year and we have 4 or 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. It's just not acceptable.